just in general as well, and it ties back to what Bashis and Siva were saying, but more pride and appreciation of local heritage food and dishes and ingredients. And I've also come with my own heritage dishes for the weekend because it's Heritage Month, but also just lots of nostalgic stuff and wanting to celebrate South African food and food that we grew up eating. And obviously I grew up in Zimbabwe, but a lot of the dishes cross over, and some simple things like my mum's Melba pudding is on the menu, but with a Clippy salted caramel ice cream. And I've got some bobotie arancini and just a few yummy, simple, interesting things that I've had fun creating that I haven't shared with people before. And also, a lot of it ties back to my new book, which is coming out in February, which is all plant-based. So completely vegetarian recipes. So I'll also be sharing with people my take on an updated Pap and Vleis that has no vlees. So I can't wait to test some poor unsuspecting audience member with that one.
Most impressed about was just how glued on our fans are here. So massively supportive of us, and that just felt wonderful. So when we all demoed in this theatre a number of times, and it was absolutely jam-packed, which was a thrill. They laughed at anything we said, which was ridiculous. You just say chair, and people would laugh. So, funny accents, what can I tell you?
Well, it's fantastic to have you back after what's been a very high-profile stage for you guys. MasterChef has come
He's
to
looking
an
at
end.
you,
Tell
George.
about what now lies ahead.
I think everything in life has to come to an end at some point. And we had 11 incredible years, and we're very grateful. It's definitely changed our lives, and we love how much it's influenced the world, and we love the outpour of emotion from people right across the globe. But now it's time to breathe, take another deep breath, and dream again. We were in a dream, and it was fabulous, and now we get to just chill for a bit and do our own thing, and off we go.
Matt, have you had time to take stock a little and look back on the journey of an acclaimed food writer suddenly becoming one of the world's biggest television stars?
That's weird, isn't it? I was just in Portugal. I think the thing is, I think you kind of forget, right? So we made this show for 11 years in a shed behind a racecourse in a dodgy part of Melbourne, and then you land somewhere like here, and you realise that people love the show. They love the contestants that have come through the show. They are keen to find out what we're going to do next. And part of the reason I think for us looking to move on is we've got other stories and things we want to do. That this idea of making an Australian television program kind of is over now. You have to make TV for the world, and you've got to make it, because what resonates here bizarrely also resonates in Portugal, in Brazil, and in Bulgaria, and in Syria. And I think that's one of the things. That's one of our big learnings. Is that's super exciting, and it gives us a huge potential, because we really like travelling. Because when we travel, we get to eat really good stuff, and we get to charge our batteries. I think that's one of the challenges of MasterChef, is sticking yourself in a studio for 9 months of the year, when normally, like as a food writer, I'd be travelling 5-6 times a year and seeing stuff. So that there's less of that pressure that you have to go, but also there's that lovely thing. You want to spend a week on the Algarve and then wander through London for a bit, or come here and spend like 10 days in South Africa. That's kind of exciting. And personally, I just want to take Ghost Pops to the world. I think that's the most important thing. And the reason you ask why I'm back, I'll tell you right, it's because on this stage we did some stuff with Knick Knacks and the PS Bar as inspiration. And at the end of the day, at the end of the dem, Warren, who's from Pretoria, who's my offsider, said to me, "Have you had a Ghost Pop?" And I had a Ghost Pop. I was like, "That is the best snack ever. We got to do this as Ghost Pop chicken. We got to do fried chicken flavoured with Ghost Pop." So our whole reason for coming back is to do Ghost Pop chicken.
We're a bit split on that, because he tried to convince us this morning that they were great, and they need to be put under a microscope, because they're
You be very careful about criticising Ghost Pops in Pretoria, Gary Megan, or in Johannesburg.
I didn't say I didn't like them.
You can have a go. You can have a go. You can have a go. You can't have a go at the peppermint crisp. You can't have a go at the TV bar. You might be able to have a go at those strange large apricots, because they're freaking weird. But there's some very. This is one of, and I've got to say, historically, you would have a go at the Simba Mrs. Bull's chip, you know, the chutney chip.
This is dangerous territory here, man.
Because, but then I had chutney knickknacks today, and they were freaking delicious. They were like pickled Monster Munch. They were.
You have got a serious problem.
No, you know.
I mean, that's why we like you, but you've got a serious
No, because
problem.
I know. When chefs travel, they'll go, the first thing I like to go is
Looking at baby vegetables.
I like to go to the market, and I like to go to the snack food aisle of the local supermarket, because I reckon that tells you a lot about how people eat as well, as much as the market does, that combination of two. And it is weird that in every country you find certain junk food that really resonates with people. It's almost like you've got to be a Springbok fan, and you've also got to be a Ghost Pop fan, otherwise you're not really South African, I would suggest.
I think that's a pretty astute analysis, really, of South Africans. So you've clearly picked us up really well, Matt. George, if you look back to last year, at the time I've spent in Australia, I'm always blown away by the diversity of the culinary culture. Did you see something similar when you were here in South Africa?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Australia is a total multicultural boiling pot. But you know, what I think I've been coming in now since 2010.
Would that be the World Cup?
That was the World Cup. I never forget, before I left, my mum was going, "Are you crazy? Why are you going to South Africa? It's dangerous." And obviously I came with a little bit of apprehension, but the one thing I've never looked back. I love coming in here, and obviously we get so looked after. But just there's some people that are absolutely beautiful. There's this really beautiful energy, and people are so lovely. I don't want to get into what the newspapers are saying at the moment here, and obviously we're all read the headlines, and it's disastrous. But there's stuff going on everywhere in the world. You know, there's issues, but what we need to focus in on is, you know, what is wonderful. And this weekend's going to be a ripper. There's some incredible local talent, you know, and I've tonight on my duck dish I've made chakalaka.
Yay!
Only because I love the word. Like, how cool is that word, chakalaka?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Let's go around saying chakalaka all day long. Chakalaka, chakalaka, chakalaka.
Well, I was going to go the opposite of Matt's thing on, you know, what did you call it? The fast food aisle.
Junk food, brother.
The junk food aisle. We got all these baby vegetables this morning from Pico Farms and Pico Greens, I think it was. And we're just not getting, we're all poring over it because we're just not getting that kind of produce. So you talk about the cultural and, you know, culinary diversity in Australia. Some of the produce is just absolutely outstanding. Like, I've been, particularly this time, I was blown away last time, but we're just not getting it. And I know it sounds a bit cliche and you're like, yeah, sure, I'm sure you're getting it. We are not. Like, I reckon we've got about 30 products that we picked up from the farm that have all been delivered that are absolutely outstanding, and we're not getting a fifth of that quality, are we? Like, seriously. So very, very impressed. And we went out to Fermier for dinner last night. So we had probably, 10 or 15 courses of just absolutely delicious local food, local wine, and everything was as good as anywhere in the world. The food was absolutely delicious. I mean, even local truffles. Mapalanga, I think, the region that they're from. So just really beautiful. And obviously a fledgling industry. I think they said they found the first, you know, black diamond in 2015, and now, you know, it's taken off. So that's great. And good to see. So truly impressed.
And we see you travel an awful lot. You're all over the world all the time, as all three of you are. In terms of how far down the road South Africa is from what you've seen, where do we sit compared to other countries in terms of our food?
I don't know if I can answer that. I don't know if I'm well travelled enough. I mean, I know that when I come here, that what I want to do is get out more than we have the opportunity to do. I mean, one of the reasons we wanted to come and do Appetite Fest this year is I think it was originally muted that we might do Cape Town, which was like great, because then we get a snapshot of three completely different cities. We go to Pretoria, we do Johannesburg and Cape Town, and then everybody keeps going, go to Durban, and then the conversation starts telling you, you know, the advice of going up, you know, the Western Cape and really embracing it. And I haven't had the opportunity to do it. So what I'm getting is a travel, you know, like a snapshot of maybe a city's best, but not all of. And I really missed that opportunity. So I've travelled a lot to India, for example, and it's probably taken me 12 or 13 visits to really start to get my fingers in and get a little glimpse and a proper understanding of its kind of culinary heritage and culture, and then I can make what would you call it, a educated comment on that. Whereas I haven't been here enough. Matt, have you?
Yeah, no, I think the first time you come here, you see Babuti, don't you see Babuti? You see the two different cook sisters, the Cape Malay version and the Afrikaans version, and it's quite grandma's cooking, and I think that's been, you know, with what Luke Doralson's doing, and there's definitely been a kind of a birth and an excitement in terms of modern cuisine. Obviously, what's happening in the Paternoster is a great example of that. I don't buy into that. I kind of think the whole point about food is not to be as good as Paris or as good as San Sebastian, but just to be the best you can be where you are. Because the most important thing, the reason why I come to eat in a country is not to eat stuff that is, I come to, you know, we're cooking with Springbok, for example, because that's a really interesting meat. We wanted to cook with warthog, but we couldn't get enough because there's a bit of a warthog problem at the moment. But there's some delicious stuff that we don't get to play with. That's wonderful, that's indigenous, you can't find anywhere else in the world, and that's when I travel. That's when I want to try. I want to see the stuff that, you know, is naturally occurring here, whether that's flora or fauna or whether that's seafood. And I think that's moving forward. That's the future of any cuisine in any country. I've just come back from Portugal, very strong kind of grandma cuisine, but they're now just starting to lighten, brighten, modernise, and it's, you know, restaurants like Bel Canto and Alma are just fantastic, and I think that's the future. The question is, you know, the brutal question, if you go to Narasawa, which is probably one of the best street restaurants in Tokyo, it's 90% tourists. If you go to Alma, it's 90% tourists. So the problem is that, you know, if you don't have a whole lot of tourists that want to come and drop a large amount of money on eating, it's very hard to get a kind of a viable high-end food culture going. And I think we suffer that to a degree in Australia as well. You know, you just don't get that many, you don't get the same number of tourists that Rome or Lisbon or London or Paris get, in terms of every weekend you've got 1 million people flying in who are going to eat in the big restaurants.
We've spoken about the food. George, the chefs, I think you dropped by at Saint yesterday, if I saw, and I know whenever you get here, you do whatever you can, as you all do, to get into the local restaurants. We've got some fantastic South African chefs with us over the course of this weekend. What was your experience like last year, interacting with our local guys, learning a bit from them and exchanging views on the world of cooking?
Yeah, there's some incredible local chefs, and I think that's really important, not to compare yourself to other countries. I think Matt hit the nail on the head before, because you know, I mean, look what Chantel's doing up at Mosaic in terms of really headstrong, doing her thing, employs only females, which is awesome. Tried to apply, but
did you tell her we're all out of work and we needed?
Yeah,
okay.
I tried. Yeah, exactly.
I could do the pot wash.
Well, we could do the gardens, maybe the three of us. Yeah. Gary's good with a. You've seen Gary with a spade?
Lawnmower?
He's very good with. Yeah.
Bit of caulking.
Yeah. So that's really, I mean, what Luke's doing, what David's doing. It's bloody exciting. And on a Tuesday night at Saint, it was jam packed. And that's really.
But it's an interesting question with David, because obviously David, super fine dining, you know, the probably one of the 3 iconic restaurants of South Africa, and yet, yeah, that's a restaurant you probably go to if you lived in South Africa. You maybe go to once a year, whereas Saint's somewhere you could go, you know, once a month, every couple of weeks, and you could dig into different parts of the menu. And I think that's also the question: is what sort of restaurant culture do we want? Do we want something that follows down that kind of fine dining, white tablecloths, waiters with French accents, or do we want something that's casual and reflects what South Africans tend to be like, which is a bit more relaxed, a bit like the Australians?
And there has been, as much as we hate each other whenever we're playing each other at sport, there is a great similarity between so much of Australia and South Africa. You speak, Gary, about the crowds and how much you enjoyed that element of it. But just in terms of almost feeling at home when you come back here, I think you guys are pretty comfortable wherever you go, but particularly happy touched down here in an environment that you clearly gel with.
Our lifestyles are very similar. I think most South Africans know that. There's a lot of South Africans that, you know, live in Australia too. They've got relatives over there.
The ones we didn't want, we've sent them over to you.
Is that right? The love of the barbecue, although, you know, we joked about it last year that you have proper barbecue and we just have pretend barbecue, because we have gas barbecues and we get ribbed mercilessly. But Australians are also very lazy, so we just want to turn the gas on, you know. Greeks, on the other hand, they love of wood and coal. But I was telling you earlier, I was watching the rugby synopsis last night for the World Cup, and there was no talk of any other competitor other than New Zealand, which I think has been, the prediction was that South Africa and New Zealand will be in the final.
Just two teams in the tournament.
And there's only two teams in the Rugby World Cup. Wales and Australia weren't even on the radar, and it was just very natural way that it flowed to the prediction at the end. So I look forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, well,
That first game's going to be a ripper, isn't it? You do not want to finish second in that group. You really don't. That's a world.
Anyway,
match,
interesting.
isn't it?
the weekend ahead of us, there's so much to celebrate, so much incredible food, so many great ingredients. We know we've got some chakalaka coming up. You've mentioned some of the springbok. Gary, what are you really looking forward to cooking, and what can people look forward to from your masterclasses, from your presentations over the next few days?
Well, I don't know. I'm hoping, to be honest, that outside of the food, that we just have a lot of fun. I hope that the audience and the everybody that comes to this festival gets a proper foodie weekend. I mean, that's what it's all about. It was so positive last year. This main theatre was so fantastic. We've got a big dinner tonight, big lunch tomorrow, and I think we're all pretty much we're solidly committed all over the weekend. So I think we've got masterclasses, main theatre. I think we're doing 3 each. So we're going to be working hard, book signings, etc. So not a lot of time for our feet to touch the ground, but I want to be firing up on adrenaline from 6 o'clock tonight, and I don't want it to end until Sunday night. And I reckon that'd be a great weekend. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
George, your thoughts?
It's such a buzz. It was a buzz last year, and we're grateful that the team at Sun have committed to it. Again, it's a logistical, it's a lot of hard work and preparation from the team, and we're pumped to be here. And these are opportunities for us to. There's no editing. It's live. And you get to see us raw, and you get to hear how and what we're feeling right now, and that comes through obviously the dishes that we're going to be cooking and talking about, the meaning behind them, and you get a bit of us right here in wonderful.
I do love the fact though, when we walked out earlier, that obviously a super fan came running across the car park, waving a pen and paper around, ran straight past me, ran straight past George, and went up to Matt and said, "Oh my God, I'm so excited to see you." I said, "Right then, I'm going home."
No, but I haven't told you this story. It's a very swank restaurant called the Wolsey in London, and the matron got wind that I was in. He came up and said, "Oh, Gary, it's such an honour to have you in the restaurant."
Oh yes, I feel better now.
And then he poured me 2 glasses of Premier Cru, like Montrachet. It was fucking delicious. So I shouldn't say fucking.
Yeah, but it is
fuck,
delicious.
I did. Fuck it. Look. I think we have so much fun travelling together. I think that's what we love. So there's the stuff we do together. Then there's also that great thing, like any great trip, where you get split off and you go and do your own shit, and you come back together and you talk about it, and you talk about the great stuff. And the Braai on Sunday night will be a lot of those stories. I'm excited because the Ghost Pops thing started off. Everything I'm doing is inspired somehow by Pretoria. So my father went to Witwatersrand University. He got thrown out. So I'm doing a dessert inspired by Clippies and Coke. So this is number 1. I'm doing a Kepler Vessels pudding, which is a collision of Australia and South Africa, sort of based on Malva, but also with dates, like a sticky date. So I'm just we're just here to play, really, and I think that's what's so fun about coming here to doing stuff. There's no agenda. We're just going to have some fun and freak some people out, and maybe hopefully show some good stuff, and then have things that fail, which will be even funnier.
And I think you can see just the sheer force of personality and character. Even though MasterChef has come to an end, we'll never ever forget Gavin, Jerry and Martin, who's such a wonderful trio of superstars. Guys, I'm not going to let you go just now, because we've not only brought the 3 of you out, we've actually got 5 Australians. It's the limit for any one time to immigration laws. We've got all 5 of you. I'd like to welcome 2 more, and I think they'll be very familiar to all of you. One has been a guest judge on many occasions, the other a former winner. Please welcome up Shannon and Sashi. Welcome, guys.
Shannon Bennett is modelling the latest Bar and Bay fashion.
Sit over here.
Here, take a here, Sashi.
Well, actually, Sasha, you sit here and I'll go sit over there. You don't need the pillow.
Well, guys, welcome. It is lovely to have both of you here, and thank you very much for joining us. What's the experience been like so far, Shannon?
It's been whirlwind. I think we've only been here 36 hours. George and I flew over together. Sasha's been here a little longer, but first time to South Africa. So yeah, for me it's a big blur at the moment, but there's something relatable about everyone you meet in South Africa. We've got a lot of synergies, and I think the climate's similar. There's similar something culturally about everything about Australia. It's sort of a new culture here to discover as well. So there's always great conversations, and so far so good.
Long trip over with George. In between him telling you about football, what was he able to tell you about this particular festival and what to expect in South Africa as a whole?
Well, it was all a huge amount of information because I didn't really ever have South Africa on my radar apart from the game reserves. And I was sort of keeping all that. I've got 6 kids back in Australia, and they're all quite young. The eldest is 14, the youngest are twins, and they're not even 5. And so I've got this bucket list thing I wanted to experience with them and take them to the game reserve. So I was like, no, I'm going to put South Africa in my pocket and just leave it there for a couple more years before I do anything any research. So George gave me a lot of tips about some great restaurants here. Fermier is what was on that list, and we went there last night, which was amazing, and I loved how casual it was. And then the ingredients, incredible. Seen some amazing ingredients, and obviously George had a few tips on that. And the only other thing was not to go jogging by yourself at about 8 p.m. at night. So, so I took note of that, and I'm looking forward to an amazing weekend of meeting some new people, meeting some amazing chefs as well, local chefs, and having some great conversations, and just getting my head around this incredible country.
It is fantastic to have you here, as it is Sashi. Is this your first time here as well?
Yes, my first time here. After MasterChef, I've been traveling a lot. So South Africa, yeah, first time.
Are you able to give us a synopsis of just how much life has changed from starting episode 1 of MasterChef with some hope and not much more, and suddenly by the end of it being a world famous chef?
Starting when I joined the MasterChef, I was having a lot of doubt on myself, whether am I the right person, am I going in for the right thing? But after a few episodes, once I get my feet around, I was able to convince myself, okay, I've got a chance. And after the competition, after the win, it has changed a lot. I'm cooking a lot now. Started my own pop-up restaurants. So everything is going around cooking at the moment. So I'm really enjoying myself.
Does it still feel slightly strange that the 3 slightly intimidating global superstars who you lined up in front of in episode 1 are now 3 mates you're sharing a festival with?
Initially, yes. Because I've seen them in TV. In person, I don't know what their personality like. First episode, yes, I was a little intimidated, especially with Gary, when coming right in front of me. When I was doing the roti jala, he was standing there looking at me and calling the rest coming in. I still remember that. So, but after a few episodes, I think these guys are really very friendly, very approachable, made us so comfortable, including Shannon, mentoring us. Very good guidance from all 4 of them.
Well, Gary's an intimidating guy and the hard man at MasterChef, so we do know this. Not surprising. Shannon, the weekend to come, what have you got planned for us? What can we look forward to?
Well, there's a hands-on cooking class style demonstration where we're basically putting, I think that they're fully booked, but they've got the opportunity to cook a dish that I actually did on MasterChef. I think it was season 8 maybe, where I did this orange chocolate mousse. It's got a real bit of theatre to it, but there's a lot of different elements. And we're going to try and do every element in 1 hour, so there's a bit of pressure. We've got a few backup plans as well. So that'll be good, and that's full-on hands-on. I think there's about 20-25 people in the class, and you're obviously looking forward to going around to each single one and seeing what their levels are like, and trying to get them relaxed and get them to execute chocolate orange mousse with chocolate olive oil in 55 minutes.
Wow. What could possibly go wrong?
It's very simple, but it's going to be a disaster.
It won't be a disaster. It'll be fun. There'll be something on the plate no matter what, and all the elements taste great. So obviously presentation is going to be that theatrical moment. We'll at least get one up that has that theatrical sort of moment to it, but everyone else, at least they'll enjoy eating it, hopefully. And then we've got the theatre demonstrations, which the dishes that I'm showcasing there are sort of the cross between restaurant food and home cooking. And that's probably where I am in my career at the moment. I spend a lot more time now at home cooking for kids and cooking for people who come over. Gaz came over to I live in Byron Bay, and he came over was a couple of months ago now, 6 weeks ago, and had a great ball with him just cooking home food. But it's nice to do food that sort of then has a restaurant element to it. So I'm doing a few dishes that showcase that.
I got to tell you that going around to Shannon's house with 6 kids, I've got one daughter who's 18. We have a very quiet house. It's very civilized, a little sophisticated now, and it's like a zoo at your place. He's got goats on the roof, and I'm not lying.
Yep.
He's got there's about 24 chickens.
24. Actually, you were out looking. We have a couple missing. Miss
And
Frizzle
apparently it was
missing.
your job to put the chickens away. And up in Byron, they have carpet pythons and things.
Carpet pythons, yeah.
And apparently, if you don't put the chickens away at night, there is carnage. And so watching 6 children plus us running around with torches trying to find 24 chickens with 2 goats watching on the roof. When we left Shannon, we breathed a sigh of relief.
No, it's great fun.
It's
great.
non-stop glamour being a celebrity chef. Saji, what can we expect from you cooking-wise over the next few days?
For the auditorium, I'm doing one of my finale dish. So I'm sure you guys would have seen the prawn sambal, which I did for the finale, which got the perfect score. So I want to share that moment with the audience. For the cook with me, I'm preparing a very simple salad dish, but there's a lot of spices and elements will be involved where I'll be explaining to them why you must put that amount of spice in that dish with fruits involved. So fruit and seafood. So yeah, gonna be something new.
We can't wait for all those dishes. And when I say can't wait, I really mean that, because there are already people waiting to get in, queuing outside ahead of tomorrow. Are you ready for just how big MasterChef Australia is in South Africa?
Oh, I was blown away actually. When I came into the competition, I didn't know how massive this show was until the producers told me that, this show has been telecast in 80 over countries. I was like, wow. Then when I went, after winning the competition, and I'm traveling to different countries, and the amount of love and affection people are showing towards the program, it really has, it shows that how a cooking program has reached people's heart, and really it's massive, this show, and I'm blown away.
As are we, just to have you guys here. George, Matt, Gary, if I can leave you guys with a final word from each of you, just a message to people out there, maybe thinking at the moment, we'd like to come to Appetite Festival, they need that last little bit of persuasion. What would the word from each of you be for everybody to come along, join us and get those last few tickets that are remaining?
That's your job. That's just cheap editing on your part, and you're handing the responsibility to us. And we'll get a move on.
All right, so Gary's got no reason for you to come whatsoever, don't bother. Matt?
I think the beautiful thing about MasterChef, we talk about it being a family, and I think that's, you come and join our family, whether you're cooking along with Shannon, where you're at Sashi's auditorium show, and you come to one of our master classes, whatever you do, you kind of become part of the family. You just get, and really you need to see all 5 bits of it, so you need 5 tickets, plus a general admission pass. But even you just come and spend the day, there's some amazing producers here, some fantastic wineries. I think that's and DJs, and I think that was the great thing last year. I mean, sadly there's no rugby on the big screen like there was last year, which is a huge miss. We should have done this. We should have done this in like 2 weekends time, so we could have a couple of World Cup games. But we can actually get Gary to reenact some great moments of World Cup rugby.
What a great idea that is.
We put that on the screen. That'd be great.
You know, my 40s were a lesson in fragility, in understanding what my body can and can't do, and 50 is just a lot of no. Yeah. Would you like to play touch rugby? No. Would you like to get on a jet ski? No.
All right, so plenty of reasons to come. George, one final one from your perspective.
Tomorrow at midday, we're gonna do something really special to Shannon's hair. So that's free of charge.
Can I crimp it?
It's going to be really exciting. You know what it is? It's as I said before, it's all access. It's raw. It's real. It's us. And I hope everyone comes and they get to laugh. They get to be inspired by a new technique or a new idea. But more than anything, you know, it's the love, because that's really what MasterChef is. It's just a whole lot of love, and we loved it, and now we get to do it live for everyone.
We are delighted to have the three of you back and the two of you joining. There are still general admission tickets going. There are also still some masterclass tickets left. Not many, but there are some. And I think a big point for everybody this year is that this theatre and our other theatre, there are 2,500 seats between them. That's included in your admission ticket. It's obviously a first come, first served basis, but so many more people are going to be able to interact with all of our star chefs this year. So for us, that's a really, really important part. Guys, we've got a lot of cooking, a lot of work, a lot of enjoyment to have for the next few days. Thank you very much. The guys will be heading downstairs together with our South African chefs. There will be some opportunities for one-on-ones if you'd like to join us. Henry Basil will orchestrate that. We're going to have our photographer come on for a couple of quick photos before that. But it just leaves me to say not just thank you to our quintet of Australians for coming to join us and adding such global luster to the event, but on behalf of all of us, including the Australians and our South African chefs, thank you to all of you guys for your continued support and for being here. We hope to see you over the course of the weekend. So if I can welcome our South Africans back up on stage.